Chapter 19. So, here's a memory. It's one of those weird memories that feels magical and unreal, like a song you wake up singing. It feels sweet and gritty like brown sugar in my mind. Maybe because it starts with me sleeping, or maybe because it really was magic. I don't know, but here it is. We were pulled over, somewhere in Nevada, I think. Rodeo had driven the night before until the desert around us was silver with light from the full moon and the sky was crowded with stars. We were on a little two-lane highway, not a big old interstate freeway. Rodeo had his window open so cool desert air flowed all around us. The radio was off. When there were no cars coming the other way, which was most of the time, he turned off Jaeger's headlights and we rolled through the night. Nothing but moonlight showing the way. That's how I fell asleep. Moonlight all around. The desert air playing with my hair. Rodeo humming quietly to himself. It was cool. But that ain't the memory. I woke up to Rodeo whispering my name, soft and excited. I'd fallen asleep up front, not back in my room, and I was curled up against the window. The bus was still, silent, and there was pinkish yellow light seeping in through the windows. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, tried to figure out where the heck I was. Rodeo was kneeling on the seat in front of me, his own face still puffy with sleep, but his eyes bright and looking out the window. "Coyote," he whispered again. "Look." I straightened up and looked out the window that had been my pillow. We were pulled over on a dirt road. I guess Rodeo had parked there to sleep once his eyelids got too heavy to drive. The desert was waking up around us, the sunrise just starting to warm up over a red rock mesa in the distance. At first, I didn't see her. My eyeballs were dry and crusty and she blended in so well. But then her big ears twitched, circling around after some sound, and there she was. A coyote, slender like a deer, mottled brown and gray fur that looked coarse and soft at the same time somehow. Long skinny snout pointed our way, eyes that were sharp, that were smart, that were wild, that were looking right at us, but not just at the bus. She was looking right in the window to where we were sitting, looking back. "Your namesake," Rodeo whispered. She was only like 15 feet away, just standing there among the sagebrush. Her bushy tail held low, ribs rising and falling with her breathing, ears twitching and turning, just standing there looking at me and Rodeo. "Whoa," I said, smiling. Rodeo was smiling too, his eyes crinkled up with it. "Good morning," he murmured, either to me or to the coyote, or maybe to both of us. Then the coyote's head turned back toward the desert behind her. She lowered her head and yipped, one little bark. And out of the shadows of the sagebrush tumbled two little brown bodies, pups. They scampered up to her and stopped, one between her legs and one by her chest. They were all ears and legs, just as clumsy, as cute as could be. They sniffed at her quick and then stopped, looking to where she was looking at us. A mama and two babies, daughters maybe, appearing out of a sunrise dream to visit us. I looked up at Rodeo, excited, but Rodeo's smile faded. He raised a hand, slow and kind of shaky, and pressed his fingers to the window, reaching out toward that mom and her two little ones. His eyes were full and wet. I didn't say nothing. I looked at them coyotes too, and I was trying my best to breathe and swallow. I don't know how long we all stayed like that, us and the coyotes, looking at each other, sitting quiet. Whether it was a few minutes or a few seconds, though, that time felt full, stuffed thick with life and feeling, splitting at the threads with breathing and thinking. The sun finally poked his head over that mesa, and its sharp white light pierced the dawn's softness. The mama coyote raised her nose, sniffing at the sky. Then she lowered her head and looked at us and whined just once. It wasn't a sad whine, or a hurt whine, or a scared whine. I don't know what it was, but I know it was for us. Rodeo took a trembly breath. "Once upon a time," he said, his voice hoarse and quiet. "Once upon a time." And then just like that, they were gone. The mama gave us one last look and then trotted off as quick and graceful as you can imagine. Her babies followed, jogging along behind her. In a heartbeat they were gone. melted back into the desert or whatever dream they'd come out of. Me and Rodeo sat looking at where they'd been, looking at the emptiness of the desert the mama and her babies had left behind. Rodeo's hand was still on the window, his eyes still full. He sighed. He leaned his head against the cool glass. I heard him sniff once. And then he went back to sleep. I heard his breathing get slow and regular. I think maybe he was hoping that if he fell back asleep enough, he could catch up to that mama and her babies, that he could dream about 'em, get a little more time with 'em. It's a nice thought. I don't know if he did or not. So there's that. I ain't never leaving that one behind, that memory. It's a good one, I think.